Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we are diving deep into one of the most talked about techniques you hear about in the gym, the drop set. Is it really the secret weapon you've been missing for muscle growth, or is it just another piece of gym folklore? Well, today we're putting drop sets under the microscope to separate the science-backed facts from the fiction.
So let me ask you something. Have you ever been there? You're training hard, you're staying consistent, but the results, they just seem to stop. It's that dreaded plateau, right? Where you feel like you're just spinning your wheels. It's honestly one of the most frustrating feelings for anyone who lifts.
Okay, but what if I told you there was a scientifically backed method that promises the exact same muscle building results you're getting right now, but in a fraction of the time? I mean, that's the powerful claim behind drop sets. It sounds a little too good to be true, doesn't it? So, what is this supposed workout hack all about? Let's start from the top and break down exactly what a drop set is and, the theory that makes it so popular in the first place.
Okay, so what is a drop set? The concept is actually brilliantly simple. You just do an exercise until you hit what's called momentary muscle failure. That's the point where you literally cannot complete another rep with good form. But here's the twist. Instead of stopping, you immediately lower the weight and keep going until you hit failure a second or maybe even a third time.
Let's break it down into easy steps. First, you pick your exercise. Let's say it's a bicep curl, and you go until you can't possibly do another rep with good form. Then, and this is the key, you immediately drop the weight by about 20 to 25%. We're talking no rest, no checking your phone, nothing. Then you jump right back in, pushing to failure all over again with that lighter weight.
Now, why is this supposed to work so well? Well, the theory behind it is pretty cool. The main idea is that by pushing past that first point of failure, you're forcing your body to recruit extra muscle fibers that were kind of just sitting on the sidelines before. This creates this immense metabolic stress. You know, that intense burn you feel? That's a huge trigger for muscle growth or hypertrophy. And of course, you're packing a ton of training volume into a really short window of time.
So, yeah, the theory is super compelling. More fibers, more stress, more volume. I mean, it sounds like the perfect recipe for muscle growth. But as we always have to ask, does the science actually back up the hype? Let's find out.
All right, now for the main event, the scientific showdown. We're going to put all that hype under the microscope and see if drop sets can actually stand up to some really rigorous research. Now, to get the most reliable answer, we're not just looking at one single study. Nope, we're looking at what's called a meta-analysis. You can think of it like the ultimate review, where scientists gather all the high-quality studies on one topic, pool all the data together, and find the overall consensus. It's pretty much one of the strongest forms of scientific evidence we've got.
The main paper we're digging into today is a 2023 meta-analysis by Sodal and his colleagues. They combine the results from 6 different studies, looking at 142 people in total. And what's really cool is they're not alone. A similar meta-analysis from 2022 came to a very similar conclusion. That consistency tells us we're probably looking at a reliable pattern here, not just some one-off result.
And this just goes to show how clever researchers can be. One of the key studies they included in that big meta-analysis used a fantastic design. They had people train one of their legs with drop sets on a leg extension machine, and the other leg with a totally traditional routine. So each person was their own perfect control group. I mean, how smart is that? And the results? They were actually pretty specific and really interesting. For one part of the quad muscle, the rectus femoris, drop sets actually led to more growth. But for the muscle right next to it, the vastus lateralis, there was no difference at all. And when it came to strength gains, both legs got stronger equally. So this kind of shows the answer isn't a simple yes or no. It's more nuanced.
So that brings us to the big question, the one that's at the heart of this whole explainer. When you put all the data together, do drop sets actually build more muscle, or is their real superpower something else entirely? And here it is, the bottom line, straight from the conclusion of that huge 2023 meta-analysis. After looking at all the available evidence, the scientists said there was, quote, no significant difference in muscle growth between drop sets and traditional training. Let me say that again because it's important. Drop sets did not lead to more overall muscle growth. Visually, this is what that looks like. When you're talking about the final outcome, getting bigger muscles, both methods get you to the exact same place. One is not better than the other for building size. It's a flat-out tie. So if that were the end of the story, you might be thinking, well, why bother with drop sets then? But it's not the end of the story.
because this is where things get really exciting. While the muscle growth was the same, the time it took to get that growth was wildly different. Think about it. Traditional training takes up a lot of time with all those rest periods between sets, but drop sets, by their very design, get rid of almost all of that rest time.
So just how much more efficient are we talking about here? Well, the studies found that drop sets give you the same results while cutting the time you spend on an exercise by a staggering 54 to 70%. That is huge. This isn't about training harder, it's about training so much more efficiently.
Okay, so now that we know the science, same results, way less time, how do we actually put this into practice in our own workouts? Let's build your blueprint for using drop sets the smart way.
So, when should you pull this tool out of your toolbox? First, they're amazing for smashing through a stubborn plateau. Second, if you're ever short on time, they are an absolute lifesaver. And third, they make for an incredible high-intensity finisher on the very last set of an exercise to really burn out the muscle.
Now let's talk safety. The best exercises for drop sets are ones where you can change the weight super quickly and safely. That makes machines, cable stations, and dumbbells absolutely perfect. Think leg extensions, triceps pushdowns, or lateral raises. Trying to do a drop set on a heavy barbell squat or a bench press by yourself? Yeah, that's just asking for trouble. Please don't do that.
Here's your simple game plan. 1 or 2 drops from your starting weight is really all you need. Reduce that weight by about 20 to 25% each time, and the rest should be next to nothing, just the few seconds it takes to change the pin on a machine or grab a new set of dumbbells. But, and this is a really important warning, drop sets are incredibly intense. If you use them on every single set of every workout, you're on a fast track to overtraining and burning out. Think of them as a strategic tool, not an everyday tactic.
So, to wrap it all up in one simple sentence, drop sets are not some magic bullet for getting more gains. They are a magic bullet for getting the same gains in significantly less time. It is the ultimate tool for making your workouts more efficient.
The evidence is pretty clear, and now you have the blueprint. So the only question left is, are you ready to make your workouts way more efficient? Hey, if this helped you train a little smarter, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more science-based fitness explainers. Thanks so much for joining me.